Hello and welcome to the Daily Meal for Thursday, the 2nd of January 2025. And in today's Millwall news, a glimmer, a shimmer of hope, we hope, on the horizon in terms of players coming back from injury. This is from southernnews.co.uk. Millwall head coach gives update on Calum Scanlon return. Alex Neil revealed Calum Scanlon will likely be back in training within the next week. Scanlon, 19, joined Millwall on loan from Liverpool during the summer transfer window, but suffered a stress fracture in his back just 12 minutes into his debut, a 1-0 defeat to Luton Town on September the 14th. The left-back has spent the past 4 months rehabbing his injury at his parent club, but is set to return to South East London soon. On my understanding is that Calum will be back probably in the next week. I haven't met Calum. He's doing his rehab at Liverpool, and these are just conversations I've had loosely behind the scenes. But we do believe he'll be back soon, so he's making progress. So there you go. He'll be back soon. Don't worry. Cheerio, but be back soon. Now, moving on to the lowdown from the South London Press. From yesterday's game, I can't believe it's yesterday. Feels an age away. The lowdown on Millwall 0, Oxford 1. Plenty for Neil to ponder as bold formation fails to yield a result. Gary Rowetts returned to SC16 and left with all 3 points, thanks to Ruben Rodriguez's 57th minute winner as Alex Neil started his Millwall head coach reign with a defeat. Here is the lowdown on the New Year's Day match, and obviously to give you the teams. Snapshot of the game. Just like the Coventry game on Sunday, it was a bit of a drab affair. Oxford did as you expect a Gary outside to do, be strong and resilient. They made it hard for Mill to create anything, and when they did, there was a defender or their goalkeeper to prevent it from causing any danger. Oxford took the lead in scrappy style. Ruben Rodriguez headed in Plachetta's cross after the Lions had struggled to deal with the threat of the Polish winger. From then on, the away side defended their lead without really threatening to add a second goal. The home fans were on the referee's back in both halves as he twice refused to award Millwall a penalty. Rowetts looked to have been clipped in the first half, while Jules Seville also felt he was pushed to ground in the second. Tactical approach. Alex Neil made 2 changes to the side that played out of goalless draw at Coventry on Sunday. Mihailo Ivanovic was named in the starting lineup in place of George Honeyman, who dropped to the bench. Femi Aziz also dropped to the bench, with Duncan Watmore coming in for him. That was because of illness. He was ill. There was debate pre-kickoff if the formation was a 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1, and the answer was the former. Certainly when in possession of the ball, it was clear Neil took the option of 2 big strikers up top. It worked well in the early stages of the pair linking up well, and forcing the Oxford defence to be tight and rigid. The problem with the twin striker method was the fact that Oxford packed out their midfield and made it very hard for Mill to get the ball into their front 2. Well, maybe we shouldn't have played through the middle. Maybe we should have gone down the wings. The Lions boss said after the game that he decided to play with 2 strikers. He feels the team did not have a natural number 10. Neil said afterwards that if Aziz had not had a bout of illness, he would have likely started, allowing SA to play behind a formation. Starman Rowetts. As has been the case for the majority of the season, he was Mill's main source of creativity. The youngster continued to show why he has admirers at Premier League level. His little bits of tricky and ability to win free kicks was key in assisting his teammates in getting higher up the pitch. The best moment, Ivanovic's effort. It would be safe to say that the Serbian has found it quite hard to impact matches when he starts. He's looked very good as an impact sub, getting goals against both Derby and Blackburn. He had the game's best effort from a Mill perspective. Watmore's header fell nicely for him, and he fired it first time towards goal, but Oxford keeper Jamie Cumming made the stop. Moan of the match, the lack of movement in attacking areas from Millwall. It was a really tough watch at times. We saw from Gary Rowetts' time in charge of Millwall how they could suck the life out of a game and then hit on the break. Oxford did the same here. It was the first time in the league that Langstaff and Ivanovic started together. Safe to say it will need some time to flourish if that's the system Neil wants to play. I would say that's probably the last time they played together. The midfield really struggled at times. SA was finding it hard to create as Oxford closed him out and an extra man to deal with his threat. The pace from the home side in the attacking areas was also very slow. The build-up play was slow, and that made it easy for Oxford to sit on their lead and defend it well. A talking point down the pub. The inclusion of both Ivanovic and Langstaff. Neil showed his intent from the off, playing with two strikers, a bold move to say the least. However, if it can work, then it could be a real weapon for the Lions going forward. There are not many Championship sides that play with two strikers up top. The Lions also will need to get those target man traits drilled into his strikers. Well, we did not play big man, little man. If you're going to play two up top, you need to play big man, little man. You don't play it through the floor. That's not what you do. So we didn't play the way we should have played with the formation we set up. You would think it would be Ivanovic that would be trained to those drills as the bigger of the two strikers. What the boss had to say. We created some good chances. Mihala has a good chance to keep it, saves it. Duncan has one where he puts it past the far post, and Duncan then has the best chance of the game, where it falls to him and he hits it, and the defender gets a block. And we were the better side, the dominant side. We got good crosses into the box, and we got good volume in terms of attacks. And after 30 minutes, it felt like the game became a bit stretched for us, and they carried a bit of a threat, but nothing significant. Two up front. If you're not going to play big man, little man, and go down the wings and ping balls in, and instead of Langstaff playing with his back to goal, Langstaff literally focuses on Ivanovic, and he follows the ball off of his head and picks up the second balls. But then obviously they don't want to do that because you've got Romain Esse who plays with the ball at his feet. So then what do? Well, you mix it up. If you ping it long, you ping it to Ivanovic and tell Langstaff to play off of him. If you're running through the floor, you tell Langstaff to keep an eye on Esse. If he's looking to pass it to you, pick it up and move it on. If he pings a ball up to Ivanovic, then switch off of looking at Esse and then go to the second balls of Ivanovic. It's really not that hard, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that again. This is Oxford United, clearly one of the weakest squads in the division. And we just couldn't do anything against him. He literally, Neil said literally in the post-match comments that I showed you yesterday, the reason why we played two was because it was Oxford at home, and he thought, okay, here we go, this is a good chance to get at them and get some goals, and it was just nothing, absolutely nothing. So here we go, post-match comments from Gary Rowett. This is from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Gary Rowett gives verdict on his old club Millwall, appointing Alex Neil as new boss. Gary Rowett is backing Alex Neil to give Millwall real stability after the Scot became the club's third head coach in the space of 15 months. Rowett opted to step down as Lions manager in October 2023 and returned to the Den for the first time on New Year's Day. His new club, Oxford, winning 1-0. It ensured a losing start for Neil, who was confirmed as Mill's new boss on Monday. And Rowett said, I think the stability he'll give to the club, real stability, in the shape of how they want to move forward in, which is to develop some younger players, and keep improving all the way and be a seasoned championship side. And if that's the model and that's the role, I'm sure he'll do really well. Rowett had 4 years in charge at Millwall, but they have since had a fairly swift turnover of head coaches. Asked if he was surprised at the rate of change, Rowett said, "Oh yeah, but in a way, I suppose you can blame me for that. Me leaving in the first place meant they had to make a decision. And when you've been somewhere for 4 years and you played a similar way for 4 years, no matter the level of success, you're always going to want to change and want something different and hope that different works. But if that different doesn't work, then sometimes you're a little bit further back than where you were started. And that's not anyone's fault. The football clubs had to react to that. And then being in the championship club is important. And then getting the chance to kick on again is key." Rowett guided Mill to 4 consecutive top half finishes, twice with a chance of reaching the playoffs going into the final day. Got better reception than I expected. It's really just respectful, a bit of banter. A few people by the side of the bench winding me up all game, but I expected that, And they did it to me when I was the manager. Naturally as a manager, when you go back to a former club, you're always trying to prove yourself, and there would have been some Millwall fans who felt that I'd run my course there and would have some that didn't want me to leave, and that's football, You're always going to try and prove yourself, and the day you stop doing that is the day you should get out of the game. Well, he's certainly proving himself at Oxford United. 3 wins in a row. That's not bad at all. Excuse me for 1 second while I take a sip of Iron Brew. Okay, let's crack on. Here we go from the Southern News. Alex Neil eyes a blend of pragmatism and possession at Millwall. Alex Neil said he was keen to strike a balance between playing direct and playing possession football, calling himself a middle grounder. Okay. Neil, 43, took charge of his first game as Millwall head coach yesterday, overseeing a 1-0 home loss to Gary Rowetts Oxford United. The Lions had 54.9% possession and 15 shots to Oxford's 8, but at times struggled to play through the well-organised U's, much to the audible displeasure of the fans at the Den. I certainly didn't think from my perspective today that we were overplaying, if I'm being honest, Neil said. I do think, and I said this to the players after that game, we need to be progressive with our passing. But what we don't want to do is, we don't want to just kick it back to them. Putting the ball up the pitch isn't going to make us any better. But I'm also not a believer, in playing 100 passes in your own half. I'd like to think that I'm a little bit of a middle grounder where I like a bit of pragmatism. So if the ball needs to go forward, we work the ball forward. But there are going to be times, particularly against Gary's team, that are in a low 4-4-2 block and are hard to break down. You're going to have to work the ball from side to side because the only spaces in the game are in that flank. And that flank, and you can't just continue going bang and sort of switch it across. You need to work it and move them. So literally, like I said there, he said, why didn't we go down the wings? Why did we not go down the flanks? I thought it was a big success in the first half when, Jaffet was hitting the diagonal to Joe Bryan. But what happens is that on the third switch you play, so what you do is work it across, again, then in the third switch you suck them all across and then that space opens up. But if you try and hit that ball in the first place, everybody's in position. When we're scoring more goals, we're creating more chances, and I think that'll become less of an issue. I think at the moment, because we're not scoring as many goals, it becomes more of an issue. When asked what his goals for the season were, Neil said, I don't like really putting a limit on it. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because if we've got 10 games to go and we're 2 points outside the playoffs, we want to reach the playoffs. But if we've got 10 games to go and we're down towards the bottom end of the table, and I don't mean to sort of threaten relegation, but if you're not really challenging, then it'd be daft for me to say we want to get to the playoffs. And if I said to you right now, I want to get to the playoffs, everything beyond that's failure. But I think what we need to do and what we understand as a club is where we are and what we're trying to evolve to. And we're certainly not the finished product at the moment. We've got a lot of steps to take before we hopefully get there. And that'll take a little bit of time. But I'm not naive, I understand. Football at this level, you need to win in the meantime. So my job's to try and make sure we win enough games. And we're competitive and we're playing well. But as well as develop all of other elements that need to improve for us too. To try and really and have a chance to kicking on. Yeah. Yes, so literally he's saying there, what did he say? Particularly against Gary's team that are in a low 4-4-2 block and are hard to break down, you're going to have to work the ball from side to side because the only spaces in the game are in that flank. And that flank, and you can't just continue to go bang and sort of switch it across, you need to work it. So he's literally, you need to go down one flank, go back, go quickly to the other flank, and then get behind them. And I think he maybe told them that in the second half because Romania said and Leonard were kind of doing that in the second half. But I mean, man. Right, so that's it for the news really. Now we're going to move into the stats. I will have a look at the stats from yesterday's game. If you're not sticking around, thank you for watching. If you are, here we go. So this is from whoscored.com. You can see here the top performers, the total shots on the right hand side, the tackles, the dribbles. Romanis, there was 6 dribbles again yesterday. I think he's like literally second in the league for successful dribbles. If we go back to the middle, Mill stole the ball from the opposition. We were effective at creating goal-scoring opportunities from set pieces. Really? Not sure. Are you sure about that? We were poor at finishing. We attacked down the left-hand side and we favoured through balls. And here you go. 15 to 8 attempts on goal, 8 to 4 open plays, 7 to 4 set piece, 0 to 0 counter attack. So what they mean is we did have chances from set pieces, but they were all high and wide, all off target. Here, I will start off with this player positions. So you can see the 3 front forward players. they're tucked in. They're all in the middle. They're trying to pass it around off of each other. What's the point of having the big man and the little man on the pitch at the same time if the big man isn't up front on his own and the two... If you want to play two number 10s, I understand that kind of makes sense. Instead of having big man, little man up front, with the little man feeding off the second balls from the big man, have two little men up front. One of them can get the ball. He can be like a scrapper, like a Bradshaw or Langstaff. He can scrap in there and get the ball. And he can feed it off to Esse, who can then break through and pass the ball to Ivanovic. If you want to do that, like two number 10s, what do you like a Christmas tree, like Venables' wing, where you had two in the middle up front, two number 10s? Do that, but you look at Oxford and look how like compact they were. They basically had five at the back, three central defenders and two. So they were playing literally what 3-5-2, 3-4-3. You got, because we were pushing Joe Bryan up front, pushing him up. You can see Mario Wallace has had to go over to cover for him, leaving a massive gap in the middle of the pitch between Mario Wallace and Tanganga, and their number 7 was going in behind, and that's where their goal come from. So how, like, the thing is, you need to see this as it's happening and get them to change it to stop that from happening. So if we go to attack sides, they were going down the right hand side because they know Joe Bryan's a weak link. Shot directions, shot zones, action zones. So there you go. So moving on to this, also from whoscored.com, you can see the match events there. If we can just get rid of that. Lost 3-0 today. Oh dear. So you can see they made the change at half time. Very, very unlike Gary Rowett. So I don't know how well Alex Neil knows Gary Rowett, but certainly I guess maybe Livermore doesn't even know Gary Rowett that much as well, because he wasn't working with him. So who you're relying on? What, Andy Marshall, who's still in there? Adam Barrett's gone. Saying, look, Gary Rowett doesn't make changes at half time. Something's up with this. What's going on? So he makes that change. And then, you should probably pay a lot of attention to that, because he doesn't make changes at half time. It's not what he does. So you can see here, there's not a lot going on. Substitutions get made. And because we started with both attackers on the pitch, our super sub striker to come off the bench is Tom Bradshaw, which is a waste of time, an absolute waste of time. And you do wonder. Obviously, we have this Dagenham and Redbridge game coming up, which is realistically a bit of a banana skin for us. That if changes are made, and one of those changes is Tom Bradshaw starting, once we can all see and the management can see him playing against the National League team and being absolute dog shit, that maybe they'll realise the bell might ring and they might decide, okay, yeah, this guy needs to be moved on. But, we hope and dream. So if you look at the club badges at the top left and top right, you see the average player rating for each team. It's 6.58 for Millwall and it's 6.84 for Oxford. So a little bit more, but not obscenely more. Rodriguez got man of the match, obviously, because he scored that goal. Not far behind, there are a few players. Vaux for them, Long for them, their goalkeeper. And for us, it's literally Tanganga and Leonard. The highest rated players. Jensen with 5.9. I think that's because I think they didn't have that many shots on target. They might have had maybe one or two. So the fact that they scored one goal, that obviously knocks your score down. Watmore 5.7. So no surprise that he was the first one yanked off. What is going on with Duncan Watmore? He scores 5 goals in the opening month, and then he's gone to sleep. He's just disappeared. Don't know. So let's total shots 15-8. Watmore with 3, Langstaff with 1, SA with 1, Ivanovic with 2. And then you've got off of the bench Honeyman with 1 and Aziz with 2. So there you go. So it really was a team affair for Millwall, but couldn't score. Probably how many of them are on target, we'll find out later. Possession wise, 54.9 to 45.1, yeah. As long as I've been doing this for, was it maybe like 3 years now? Whenever we have more possession in the game, I think we lose the game. I think that's, that's not what we do. Like, we literally geared our side up to not do that. And you can see, look, Wallace with 9.3% of the match time in possession and Tango with 9.1%. Because they were just passing it between themselves. Because they probably were told, don't ping it up to Ivanovic. Then what's the point of playing him? He's literally, that's his role, is to be the target man. But you don't target him. I literally, like, here's the thing as well. If you're playing Ivanovic with Langstaff off him, and you do use him as a target man and ping balls up to him, maybe get him to move over and play off of Esse. Because if Esse can, if Ivanovic causes the chaos, the Millwall chaos, and the ball drops down to Esse, or like to him or in front of him, and he can run onto it, and then he can whip the ball across. So, and then obviously, full-backs, left-backs, they're not the most, as we know from ourselves, our own left-back is a fucking pony. I imagine, how many good left-backs are there in this league? If you get the target man to get on the left-back and you get the goalkeeper to ping it, or get Tanganga to ping it to him while he's targeting the left-back, what happens? Does one of the centre-backs have to come across and cover? Because the left-back's about 5'1". You need to think about these things. I mean, am I the only one? Is this not what they do in football coaching? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because, like, these days, they have to get the paper. They have to get the piece of paper, so they do the training. So it's literally like at schools and universities where they're not taught to be a football coach. They're taught to pass the test. So there's no imagination there, because it's like, why do you need imagination? I say something, you repeat it, or you write it down in the future. You passed the test. Congratulations. Here's your diploma. Now go out into the world and pretend that you know what you're doing. Man. Pass success percentage. Of course, for Millwall, very high, because we're tippy-tappy. Tanganga 94. Wallace 84. Langstaff 82. Watmore 88. Interesting to see. Obviously, Leonard, I think he was the out ball. He did ping a through ball, a long balls forward. So he's down to 67. But there you go. Dribbles 15-5. Obviously, if they're going to sit back, you run at them. You try and move them. If you go past one player, if you go one-on-one with one player, what happens? Someone else has to come over and help. Then you make the gaps. And SA again with 6 dribbles in that game. Aerials 1, 22-32. So we did ping long balls forward. Oh, they ping long balls forward. Moore with 5. Lee with 5 long. So their defence did have, I guess it was probably from the set pieces. But our defence, a few, but not that many. I think these were attacking ones as well, probably. Wallace and Tanganga going forward, not defensively. Ivanovic with 6. Tackles 17-20. SA with 4 tackles as well. Corners 3-4. These are players who won the corners. Dispossessed 8-7. So there you go. Now let's move on to this, also from whoscored.com, where we can find out. Before we do that, let's find out the actual ratings. 7.37. So Ryan Leonard given the highest rating for Millwall. 7.35 for Tanganga. 7.2 for SA. 7.6 for Saville. So all the Savile slaters are saying he was rubbish. Well, he got 7.6. He was the 4th best player yesterday, apparently, and then Joe Bryan was 6.92. Probably based on things like 2 shots and 2 shots on target. I guess, but I mean, man. If we go down, Langstaff 6.15, Bradshaw 6.15, 4 touches of the ball, no shots on target. Damn. Ryan Wintle, what did he have, like 6 minutes on the pitch? And George Honeyman, 6.07. So, oh my god, so Duncan Watmore, the lowest rating of all of the team, including all the subs, including Ryan Wintle, who only had 6 minutes on the pitch. Ryan Wintle had 6 minutes on the pitch. He's got a higher rating than Duncan Watmore. I don't know if you saw the game. Did you see the highlights back, or you watched the game back, or you just watched it live if you're abroad? See, at the start of the game, you got Duncan Watmore with his hair all coofed up, or whatever you call it, becoofed, whatever you call it. What do you couffoir? And then as the rain starts pouring down, he looks like a dead dog. His hair just dribbling down his face, completely wet. I don't think that was. I think he might be a bit of a fair weather, because when did he score his goals? In August. When what happens in August? Very sunny in August. So he's one of these. Can he do it on a cold Tuesday at Stoke? Probably not. So when it's raining or it's windy and it's snowing, probably not the game for Duncan Watmore to start. Not at all. Yeah. So was it 15 shots we had, right? How many were on target? How do you want to guess? 4. Yeah, that's not good enough, is it? But you see, who had the most of our shots on target? Bro, it was Joe Bryan. Like, maybe he can play up front. Can he play up front? Is he any good? Maybe he'll do better than playing at left back. Maybe we can switch them around. Can Tom Bradshaw play at left back and Joe Bryan can play up front? I don't know, but maybe. Because he keeps getting the ratings, and obviously he keeps getting picked. Obviously at the moment there's no competition, Danny McNamara's out. But the fact that they would put a right back in to cover at left back, because he's better defensively than Joe Bryan, and and he keeps conceding goals. He goes forward and there's gaps left at the back. So maybe we have to change to 3 centre backs and have Joe Bryan as a wing back and Ryan Leonard as a wing back. Don't know, but what else are we looking at? Offsides. Did we get any offsides? No, not in this game, was he? So they won't play any offside trap. So let's go through all the defensive stuff and see who did what. Here you go, Romain, more tackles than anyone else, 4. Then Leonard with 3, Tanganga with 2, Mario Wallace with 2, Joe Ryan with 2. Interceptions. George Sell with 4, Joe Ryan with 2, Casper Denol with 2. Clearances of the ball, Mario Wallace with 10, Ryan Leonard with 5, Tanganga with 4, Joe Bryan with 2. Blocked shots, Jules Sell with 2 and Tanganga with 1. In fact, while we're here, why don't we have a look at Oxford? How many shots on target did they have? So they had, 8 shots. They scored the 1 goal. This is why Jensen scored so low. They only had 2 shots on target. And I think if we go up, one of them was blocked, no? No, 3 shots blocked. Well, they had 8. So they had 8 shots in total. 2 were on target. 3 were blocked. And 1 of them was scored. So the rest, I imagine, were high and wide. So passes. Look at this. Look. Murray Wallace and Tanganga just passing the ball between themselves, seemingly, because you've got 79 passes and 77, and then it drops down to 54 to Ryan Leonard. So who are they passing it to? Each other. And if you look at the passing from them, their passing is lower, because this is how we used to play. We let the opposition have the ball, and we'll get them on the break. Because we can't break teams down. It's not what we do. So, yeah. Very weird. Very weird. Passing accuracy. George Honeyman. 100% from 12 passes. Tom Bradshaw, 100% on 1 pass. Tanganga, 93.77. If we do switch to playing 3 centre-backs, I would imagine, obviously you put Tanganga in the middle, and when we go forward, he goes forward. So he effectively moves into midfield. And then, because he's basically doing that now at times, running forward. Some of the games, he's a main attacking threat. So I imagine if you played 3 centre-backs, that would be a thing to do. So, let's move on to this from fbref.com. We're going to finish with this. You can see our XG was actually higher than theirs. They had 0.7, we had 0.9. So, the game went how the game probably should have, could have gone. It would either been 1-0 to 1-0 to either side, or 1-1. That's based on the chances created. Here the match stuff. So again, 55% to 45% possession. We had 494 passes. They had 401. Our accuracy was higher than theirs, 78 to 72. Shots on target, 27 to 25. But again, they scored. We didn't. 4 of 15 to 2 of 8. Their keeper made 4 saves. Our keeper made 1. Fouls 15 to 11, corners 3 to 4, crosses 25 to 12, touches the ball 621 to 525. This is a long time that I've seen that we had more touches of the ball than the opposition by almost 100. Never seen that in a long old time. I think probably when we played a lower league team in the FA Cup. I forget who it was. Tackles 17 to 20, interceptions 10 to 3, aerials 121 to 30, clearances 30 to 39, offsides they were offside ones, goal kicks 6 to 13, throw-ins 24 to 14, long balls 74 to 81. So they did more long balls than us. If we just go to this and see the aerial duels won and lost. So Ivanovic 50%, 5 wins, 5 defeats. Essane didn't win an aerial duel out of 5. Watmore didn't win an aerial duel out of 3. And then you've got Langstaff 2 and 2, Bradshaw 2 and 2, George Saville 1 and 3, Murray Wallace 4 and 1, but Joe Bryan 1 and 4. Joe Bryan in aerial duels 1 and 4. And that's the thing with a lot of our players, They're good at certain things, but overall, they do have weaknesses that can be exploited. Lucas Jensen, shots on target against 2, goals against 1, saves 1, that's 50% save rate. Post-shot XG was 0.9. We'll look at the shots in a minute. Launched attempts 8, 2 completed, that's 25%. His average length of his passes was 21.4. He had 3 throws, and he only launched 10% of his passes. So he was told to play it. He was told to play it shorter. Goal kicks, 6 of them. They were all long, and an average length of 74.2. Crosses from the opposition into the penalty area, 10. He didn't stop a 1. Average distance from the goal line, 13.8 yards. If we go down to this, a list of all the shots in the game, and this is utterly bizarre. I probably didn't realise it at the time I was watching the game. First 30 minutes, everything's Millwall. Last 15 minutes of the first half, everything's Oxford. Very, very weird. Second half, they hit us on the counter one time. Their only shot on goal in that second half, and they score. And you can see it goes up after the shot from the initial header. It was 0.32. It goes up to 0.92. So that was a good chance in there. Well, you're 4 yards from goal. I mean, how can you miss from there? How can you miss? If we go through Mill's chances, so blocked. So these didn't even get on the goal. Blocked, off target, off target, off target. Saved, Joe Bryan, 0.02. So not the best of chance. So we've just seen that he's had 2 shots on target. But what's the XG? Is it a powder puff? There's 20 yards with his right foot, saved by the goalkeeper, 0.02. And it didn't go up. So it started off as 0.02, and after the shot was taken, it stayed at 0.02, which means it wasn't that good of a chance because it didn't increase after the shot was taken. Whereas you look at Tanganga's, it was 0.02 and it jumps up to 0.2. And that's because it got a bit of a deflection, but it still got saved. And then Ivanovic, he's one saved. That did double from 0.04 to 0.09, but saved. And then all Oxford. Again, not very good. Blocked for them. Blocked. Off target. Saved. But it drops. So that was, that's not a good shot because it goes from 0.03 to 0.02. And then blocked and then off target. Second half, we start off. Blocked. Tanganga, 10 yards header. What more? 15 yards header. Off target. Langstaff, off target. 13 yards left foot. Their goal, And then Femi Aziz, after he came on, off target, Joe Bryan saved. This was actually a decent chance because it jumps up. It goes from 0.04 to 0.13. So I say it's a decent chance. That's not really. Like 0.13 isn't that good. 0.13 basically means if you have that shot 10 times, you will score it once. It's 10% or 13%. So it's not that good of a chance. It was a left foot free kick from 29 yards, but it did improve from 0.04. But again, he had 2 shots on target, so he got the high score on whoscored.com. But when you look at the actual chances, the XG is what was the XG of the other one? 0.02. So overall, it's 0.15. It's nothing. Like, they want good chances. Blocked from Femi Aziz, off target from George Honeyman, and off target from Ryan Leonard with 9 yards header. So there you go. Now, obviously, it was pissing down with rain. Don't forget that. So, all these shots going off target, not from us, but from them as well. Obviously, the wet weather must have an effect on that. But am I clutching at straws? Am I sniffing the copium? Maybe. Obviously, we wait to see. Apparently, today is the day after training. So what usually happens is that the players have the day off, or just the players who played in the game, or that's usually how it works. Everyone else, sometimes they come in for training. So these players will be in training tomorrow. So literally another day of training. And then they go into the game. And what can Alex Neil do? I'm certain he's not going to play 2 up front again. I'm certain he's probably not going to play Ivanovic up front. And he's going to use him as an impact sub. So we wait to see what changes can he make. What can he do? Don't know. Does he have something up his sleeve? I think he said for the first 2 games, because there's not much time on the training ground, he's going to let David Livermore basically have a big idea of picking a team. But obviously next week is Monday. We're not playing next weekend. We're playing Monday night after next weekend in the FA Cup against a team that's 3 leagues lower than us. So you would imagine then he's going to make some changes to the team. So this is on Saturday is literally probably like the last hurrah. The last, obviously, they played a lot of games, a bit gassed out, but this is the last game. If they can just go again one last time, they could. A few of them, if they are a bit knackered, they could have some days off or some rest until not next week, but the week after, so they could have some time off or some just chill time. But they do have to go again on Saturday, so we hope that they can. But I mean, we'll see how we go. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.